never ever have enough time to play it all. You know everybody wants to walk in someone else's shoes. Everyone's forgot who they are. Such a grind.
Welcome back to the Otter Creek in Rio Grande. I'm getting started on doing some things here on Workbench Pass. And I think that I don't want all of this to be foam. I'm not 100% sure because I've done some work over here in this corner to kind of facilitate my carving practice. And it's pretty labor intensive. But I think I'll start by going ahead and showing you what I've got going on over here before I move forward with anything else. Now this is not finished yet, but I thought it would give me a pretty good idea of what I'm up against. And I'm kind of happy with the way it's turning out at the moment. And really, it's just been a lot of practice. And I'm happy with the way it looks. Now, there's still lots of things that I could do. But, you know, like in areas right in here, just a matter of coming in and maybe notching that out a little more. And then continuing to sculpt away what needs to be there. And, you know, I'm happy with it, but again, it takes quite a bit of time to do that. So I don't want everything over here to have to be a large sculpture. I'm gonna have enough of that on the other side of the big pink wall, because that is going to be pretty much all of this kind of stuff unless I decide to go with plaster cast moldings or something along those lines. So I'm going to move on towards maybe another technique. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work, but I'm going to give it a shot. And it's going to involve a little bit of foam in some places and then cardboard strips and paper. I've got a couple of things that I'm needing to keep in mind. And one is that this road here, I'm wanting to wrap around and come all the way down, kind of parallel with the track to the area where the mine is. That's something that I'm wanting to keep in mind as I work through whatever it is I do in here. And the other thing is coming up with something on the backside of this track that I can glue pieces of cardboard to, because I'm gonna make it lower than the track level as it comes through here. That way you can look down into whatever's there if you need to, and how that interfaces with the backdrop. That's the plan. I just need to figure out how to go about doing it. Kids, under no circumstances ever use a broken Alpha blade to work on your model railroad. It's a good way to get severely cut. But I guess if you're gonna do it, you know, catch it on camera. What I'm trying to do here, besides not get cut, is create some undulations in the road that will, you know, not just going to be a flat road, so to speak. So I want a little dish through here up to this area, which you probably can't see on camera. And that's where my white yellow glue is, my yellow wood glue. So you can see it works pretty good. What I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of looking here and trying to see what I think will work. Because I want another dish, I think, through here. And it already kind of has some undulations in there that will work. I just want to accentuate them. And I'm being pretty rough at the moment. I don't really care. How rough it is. Because I will probably come back in. Well, there's no probably to it. I'll come back in with Sculpt-A-Mold or something similar and smooth it out a little bit more to create the road. I want there to be something right here. It's a little off center to the right of the whole scene. If you're standing back and looking at the backdrop that'll be painted, I want something that will cause the road to divert out and around. You know, you're going to come up here. And then, I don't know, a big boulder, a rock and a boulder, something right here that the road had to go out around to get to where it's going. So that's what I'm working on now. I think 2 pieces of foam will work right in here. Just a matter of getting them glued in. All right, this is Loctite heavy duty power grab, and I believe this comes recommended from Dave Meek over at the Thunder Mesa Railroad. And I think the advantage of using something like this over the yellow glue, which I have found to be perfectly acceptable as an adhesive for foam, is this kind of grabs immediately, where the yellow glue, it takes a while. You can see that's pretty much already there. Now the inspiration for this road, I can't remember if I shared this or not, but my wife and I, we went to Colorado Springs last year, and we tried to go, I forget where we were. I think we were wherever the Rio Grande railroad, what used to be the Rio Grande at the Royal Gorge. We tried to leave that town, which I'll put it up in the comments in a text form. But we left there and tried to go to Cripple Creek. And Google Maps sent us on a wild goose chase. And we ended up on a road that, like, it got to a point to where we were like, I don't think we can go any further. We're gonna die. We're gonna, fall off the edge of a cliff somewhere. And so that's what this road, I'm gonna do my best to kind of represent it. It's definitely inspirational from my memories. I don't know if I have any video left of that or not. I may have shared it back in the day, but I don't remember.
Babe, are you sure you're looking at the GPS drive? We took a wrong turn at Albuquerque, and I don't know if we fat thumbed the Google Maps app, but somehow we ended up in the middle of nowhere, Colorado, and that's the road we're on. We've given up going any further. We thought we were going to Cripple Creek. We're not in a Jeep, so we're gonna give up and take a different route, hopefully, and survive.
I just need a little bit of pressure. And I think that should work. Let that dry up for a little bit. And the next thing is going to get messy, so I need to do something to kind of protect the workbench. I'm going to do a little work with the Sureform tool, and because this is going to be extremely messy, I use magnets and t-shirts. Just, there's usually some screws available somewhere. You just stick a magnet up there and hopefully it will keep the worst of it. I'm just wanting to smooth this area here a little bit. I think that's probably good enough for now. It will give me a good idea of what needs to happen with the Sculptamold in here. I think I just need to let this dry up a little more and then start with my cardboard strips. All right, this is, I think, dried up pretty good for now. So I want to rough in the road. And I'm not 100% sure how wide it should be. Pardon the camera movement. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Which should give me an area right in here to put something, don't know what yet, that will be a little more appealing than just the track. As you can see, I'm getting the cardboard lattice work put in. And I'm being careful not to attach any of it to the fascia, because the fascia from here back that way needs to come off one more time. If I would have remembered, I would have done that before I even did this part of it. I just kind of forgot, but I think it's going to be okay. The goal is to get as much of this stuff finished as possible, because I want to be done with anything over top of the workbench, because, you know, I want the workbench to be the workbench and not a work site. So that should work. I've got one more piece that I'm going to put in here. All right, now I believe the next thing I want to do is go ahead and take the fascia off, make the one lop cut at the end. I can put it back on, and then in theory it should never have to come off again. And whatever I do here with paper, plaster, whatever it is I choose to do, will be fine, because the fascia can get messed up at that point. Okay, so I've jumped ahead here and I've added this painter's paper, I think is what it is. And I really don't know, how well this is going to work, but I think the idea is that it's going to help with the mess later on when I lay in the plaster cloth on top of it. And it also kind of helps a little bit with seeing the scenery base. And this is not my idea, and I apologize. I cannot remember where I saw this done. It's been a while. I'll kind of look in the look around and see if I can remember who did it. It looked like it was a pretty cool idea in theory. I have no idea how well it's going to work for me because, you know, sometimes these things vary. What I'm putting on here right now is a dilute, watered down yellow glue. And kind of my first thought in this is when I did it is the paper is super thin. And that might be, you know, just my own problem because I didn't get the right kind of paper. And you can see right in here, it's also not attached well. I may go in and lay some other paper across the top of it because I don't think that will matter when I go in with Sculptamold in there. It should be fine. But that's the idea, is that maybe this glue will create a little more strength and will also be waterproof, or at least offer some waterproofing when you lay the plaster cloth on. I'm not sure how many coats it should take. I'm going to let that dry and kind of see what happens after the first coat. If nothing else, it certainly helps with the overall pink hue of the room. I can tell you that that really messes with the camera and the coloration of the entire room. So I like this. I'm still kind of, I guess, on the fence on whether or not I think it's viable for what I'm trying to do. So this is the paper I used, and you can see it's super thin. It's like thinner than wrapping paper. And I can certainly confirm that by painting it with a diluted mixture of yellow glue, it definitely stiffens it up. Now, I don't think that you could for sure plant a tree in it by any means, but I do kind of wonder if you were to go ahead and paint it with latex paint and then put ground cover on top of it, if it would be viable, especially somewhere maybe further away, because you know you could put a finger through it so easy right now. But I'm going to continue to kind of work on it, maybe tweak it and see what else I may or may not do with it. Now this spot right here, I will come in with a little more foam and kind of come out over the top of that edge there, and then, you know, do some carving similar to what I did in this area. And there will probably be some other locations in here, because that's one of the nice things about it, is that it helps lend the eye to the terrain that you might want. And it's one thing I do like it better than carving, is for sure that there's some shapes in there that would not have been there had I intentionally went in with a knife and tried to carve them. So I think I'm going to call it quit here on this video, and we will see you next time on the Otter Creek in Rio Grande.